Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to an Ultimate Cavaliers edition after they beat the Philadelphia 76ers last night in Darius Garland's return. Jason Lloyd will be joining me here momentarily, but before we dive into what DG did last night, before we dive into the Cavs' best offensive game of the season, before we dive into Donovan Mitchell's supernova performance, let's talk about the uniforms real quick and the intro video and the nostalgia that the Cavs nailed to a perfect T last night between the court, between the uniforms, between all the different facets that make up a throwback jersey night. The pregame player intro video with the fabulous song featuring Jeremiah. Donovan Mitchell talked about it after the game. It was one of those moments that even as a professional basketball player, and you get paid a lot of money to do what Donovan Mitchell does, he said, these are the fun moments throughout the season you have to cherish. And you kind of look up at the scoreboard in the Jumbotron, the Humongotron, as the Cavs call it, and watch a player intro like that and say, yeah, we're playing a kid's game. Like, this is fun. These are the moments that are fun. Let's take advantage of it. It doesn't hurt that Donovan had an incredible offensive performance that we'll talk about in a little bit. But I just thought the Cavs nailed it to a 100 out of 100th percentile in terms of recapturing the magic, the nostalgia, the colors, the court, the jerseys, the videos, all the promotional aspects of last night. It was, frankly, a thing of beauty. And I asked Kenny before the game, like, hey, coach, I know as a head coach of a team, you have 1.5 million different things to care about. This is probably as low on the totem pole as you could possibly imagine. But do you give a rat's ass about the different uniform combinations, what they're wearing, the different kind of swag? And he said, like, do I care? No, but our players care, and that means that I care. And my kids care, and that means this is something that resonates with the generation below me. And if it's important to them, then yeah, I guess it is important to us. So I just wanted to give the Cavs a giant thumbs up, a round of applause for what they did last night. And before I bring Jason Lloyd in here, I was talking to Jaylen Tyson in the locker room after the game. And just went over and said, yo, Jaylen, thank you for doing that interview with me. Really appreciate it. Came out great. He told me to send him the link. And I said, hey, you're young. You grew up watching LeBron play in those uniforms. What'd you think? And Jaylen goes, oh, these are the best uniforms I've ever worn. I already had my boys hitting me up saying I need that. And I told them to all F off because I'm keeping all 5 so I can give to my kids one day. So even Jaylen Tyson, someone who was in the game wearing the uniform, could appreciate their greatness. And with that, let's welcome in Jason Lloyd to the show here, guys. What's up, Jason? How you doing this morning on a Cavs and Coffee edition?
Good morning, Michael. How are you?
I am doing well, Jason. Whenever the Cavs win and whenever the offense looks reminiscent of what we saw last year, I'm in a great mood the following day. And let's dive right into the actual reaction to Darius's return. Jason, I know you caught up to the game this morning. You and I were talking last night throughout the game and especially afterwards. It was the first time all season that what we watched from a Cavaliers offense was even slightly reminiscent to what we saw last year. And I, for one, just color me shocked, Jason. Shocked emoji face. That all of a sudden a lot of things look better when your all-star point guard is back on the court, right? Like, who could have seen that coming?
Yeah, it was – we talked about it briefly on the show yesterday. What are your expectations? And I said, Darius be on a minutes limit, minutes restriction. It might be a little rusty. It doesn't matter. Just getting him back on the floor will help. And instantly, it looked like last year's team. And I checked this morning – we talked about it on the show. I mentioned on the show yesterday, prior to Darius coming back, they were second from the bottom in shots at the rim or shots within 5 feet. Mm-hmm. And they were averaging right around 22 a game. And Boston was the only team shooting fewer shots at the rim. They had 32 yesterday.
Yep. Just
in one game, a jump of 10 shots in one game. Now, is every game going to be like that? No, of course. Like, you played the game that's in front of you that night, and not every game's the same, but it just goes to show how much they missed. We talked about it before, Donovan on one leg and no one else really who can penetrate and get to the rim. It showed you that's really the starting point to this offense. And I'll go back. We were talking last year, and I can't remember. You asked me on this show, like, what's the most important part of this? I can't remember exactly what your question was, but I said they got to get – when they get to the paint, it sort of is the ignition to the car. Yep. And it starts everything else that they do. And when they're not doing that, you see some of the struggles that they had to start the year. And then last night was a testament to, again, when it looks the way it's supposed to, that's the result that you get. And there's things to clean up. Defensively, they weren't great. I didn't think Evan was great defensively last night. But you can see with Darius back how it's supposed to look.
Yeah, two things that took away from Darius's return. A, and I am not being hyperbolic, Jason. I know sometimes we always make it seem the greatest, the best, whatever. In Darius's first stint, those first 4 minutes with the starting lineup in, they had two of their best offensive possessions of the entire season. Like, I would argue that if Kenny Atkinson were to rank every offensive possession the Cavs have had in their first 8 games, the top 2 would have been from the first 4-minute stretch last night. And to no surprise, do you know what they both included? Darius Garland blowing past the defender, getting 2 feet in the paint, kicking out, and forcing the mismatch, the rotation, and all that. Kenny said in his pregame presser, he was asked about Darius, and he used a term that I've never heard, and I'm going to steal. So I'm going to give Kenny Atkinson full credit, and you're going to hear me use this 150 times in the rest of this Cavs season next year, yada, yada. He called Darius an advantage creator.
Oh, I like that.
Right? Like, it's a simple, it's easy to understand. But basically the premise is when Darius is on the court, he has the ability to get by people, draw the defense in, kick out, and not only create an advantage for himself, but put Sam Merrill and put Jaylen Tyson and put Jared Allen and put Evan Mobley and put Donovan Mitchell and put Max Strus or put DeAndre Hunter, put anybody he's on the court with in a situation to then take advantage of the mismatch he created. So an advantage creator is a term that I'm going to continue to use. And last night we saw it on full display, even with Darius having an off shooting night. He was 3 of 11 from the floor, finished with just 8 points. It wasn't like he was lighting up the scoreboard, but he was just getting guys into the right positions. And I think another underrated part of the Darius return is that when Darius is on the court, Jason, everyone kind of slides back into their more natural role, right? Like Jared Allen's now running more pick and rolls. Why? Because Darius Garland's really good at pick and rolls. When Darius isn't on the court, Craig Porter Jr. and Alonzo Ball don't run nearly as many pick and rolls as Darius does. So anyone surprised that Jared Allen had his best game of the year last night? No.
That's a good point.
It goes hand in hand. A guy like Sam Merrill, for example, is now who, and by the way, Sam was awesome 4 or 5 from 3 last night. He's been awesome all season. But now instead of Sam being in a position where he's like the secondary playmaker, now he's just that gravitational pull on the perimeter that has to be respected and force open driving lanes for everyone else. And Evan Mobley had 3 threes in the first half last night. Do you know why Evan Mobley was wide ass open on 2 of those 3 threes, Jason? Because the drive, the kick, and the rotation, the defense had to choose. Are we going to close out Evan, let him drive through? Or are we going to let him hit an open 3? They chose to let him shoot last night. He was 3 of 5 from beyond the arc. Darius is the initiator of all of this. And I cannot stress this enough, and I'll bring up a number I brought up last night or yesterday in the show. Over the last 3 regular seasons, 22-23, 23-24, 24-25, no player on the Cavs has a bigger difference in their offensive rating in the on-court split versus the off-court split than Darius Garland. He is not a perfect player. I understand he has flaws. I am not trying to tell you, I'm not trying to pretend, I'm not trying to sell you on the fact that Darius Garland's a top 3 point guard in the league, should be on the All-NBA team, and is a completely untouchable, untradeable asset in future discussions. That's not what I'm saying. But what I am saying is for the kind of offensive style that Kenny Atkinson wants to play, you need a player like Darius Garland to unlock everyone else's full potential. And last night, the first text I sent you, Jason, was this Cavs offense looked like it's supposed to look again. Yeah. And it's no surprise that in the first 7 games without Darius, it didn't. And in his first game back, it sure as hell did.
And by the way, I just checked just to make sure I had it right. Donovan is shooting out of his mind. Like,
out of his mind.
It's not sustainable, but it's fun to watch. He's shooting 46% from 3 for the year right now. And he's taking like almost 10 a game. It's over 9. It's somewhere between 9 and 10 a game. I just looked out. I remember now. And so that's going to make everything look better. Obviously, when you're shooting it like that, it's not going to last. It can't last. That's impossible.
It'd be the best offensive season in the history of 2 guards if he can keep this up, for the record.
Yeah, he's a career, I'm looking right now, career 36%, 37% from 3, and he's at 46% now. Like, it's bonkers. So enjoy it while it lasts. Like, run the heater out as long as they're falling, and hopefully he's feeling better. He seemed to move better last night.
I'm going to save my Donovan stuff for 1 sec. I'm going to just finish DG before we pivot to Donovan, because I have some really good stuff on Donovan. And if you guys missed his post-game press conference, I got a hell of a story to tell you guys in a second, in case you're unaware of that. But back to DG real quick.
Yeah, go ahead.
I thought he was moving well. I didn't notice any. Oh, he looks a step and a half slow. He did look bigger. I'm not sure if it's the uniforms. I will fully admit everything looked better in the uniform last night. I was mesmerized by it. So
those are sweet.
I was talking to Spencer Davies, who I sit next to on press row, and we were like, does Darius look bigger? And I was like, I can't tell if it's the uniform because Jaylen Tyson also looks bigger. And I was literally sitting next to him yesterday. So I'm not 100% sure if it was the visual of the uniform. He drew a charge at the end of the game, Jason. And Darius, after he makes some good plays, he shows some emotion. He's not one that holds it all in. And he's pounded the floor and pounded his chest and yelled. And we kind of asked him about that afterwards. And he was like, I just need to prove that to people. That I could bang. I could hang in the post like that. He drew it on Oubre. He moved the way you wanted to see him move. He moved the ball you want to see him he moved the ball the way you want to see him move the ball. He's got to make a couple of those open jump shots. The first one he had was wide open. The crowd would have erupted. It was the second possession of the game. They got a steal, came down in transition. He missed it. It would have been the earliest Cavalanche in the history of Cavalanches because they got a dunk on the first possession, and then it was a wide open Darius 3 off a steal. Would have erupted. But I thought all in all, so I kept telling people, you could be upset the Cavs lost a couple of games early, but it's impossible to judge this team when they're trying new things. They don't have some of their best players and some of their most important players. And when Darius is on the court, everything just kind of falls into place the way it's supposed to. And when he's not, you're asking guys to step into roles that, sure, they're capable of playing, but I don't know if you want Sam as your secondary creator. No one loves Sam more than me. I don't know if you want Evan Mobley initiating from 30 feet out. And Jason, I don't know if you can find this tracking data. And one game's not a big enough sample size, but maybe I need to borrow your true media guy to see if we can figure this out.
I don't know if I have it for NBA, but go ahead.
I'd love to see the average start of an Evan Mobley touch when Darius is on the court versus off the court. Because last night it felt like his average, where he was getting the ball to start possessions, it was about 7 feet closer to the bucket than it was when Darius was out. And that's because they're not asking Evan to create as much as an ISO on-ball guy from 30 feet out because they have Darius to do that. So everyone kind of falls back into their more natural when Darius is on the court. And I thought it was a lot of fun. It was a hell of a win, and it was the best the Cavs have looked all season.
Two things. One, I still want Evan 30 feet out with the ball in his hands because you're going to need that at some point.
I'm not saying never. I'm just saying it's fewer and fewer opportunities.
Yeah. And second, Darius needed to get bigger. And that's been a point of contention or a point of concern with him for a few years is the injuries just because of how slight he is. And, that was one of the things that they talked about with him over the summer after last season ended was with the toe injury. Well, he can still lift and he needs to get bigger in his chest and in his arms. So I hope he is. I wasn't at the game last night, but I hope he is bigger. And it's not about proving it to us. It's just about the fact that he needed to get bigger. And he can say that. He could say, I need to prove to people. You don't have to prove it to us. He needs to prove to himself. And he just needed to get thicker. So to be able to run through screens and to be able to take some of the pounding and to try, again, man, it's November. This is fun. It looks good. April, May, and June is what the season's about, and making sure he's in top health and top condition when it matters most.
All right, let's talk a little bit about Donovan Mitchell's incredible performance last night after a quick word from FanDuel. Guys, FanDuel is America's #1 sportsbook. You know that. I know that. Jason Lloyd knows that. And right now they have an incredible offer for new customers if you want to hop on the bandwagon. A new customer on FanDuel can bet $5, anything you want to bet on. And if that $5 bet wins, you get $300 in bonus bets to use across the app in any way you want. That's $5 you can turn into $300 as a new customer if that first $5 bet wins. So what are you waiting for? Head over to FanDuel.com/UCSS to get in on the action today. All right, Jason. Donovan Mitchell was out of this world last night. 46 points, 15 of 21 from the floor, 6 of 10 from three, 10 of 10 from the free throw line. He could not miss. Now, for anyone who did miss his post-game press conference, I got to fill you guys in on what happened. Ethan Sands asked the first question, and Ethan was like, Don, best game of the season, hard to play much better. Anything happened before or anything during the game that kind of locked you in? And Donovan admitted that he was playing NBA 2K online before the game, was in the playground, which means you're 1 out of 5. So you're playing as one person and you're teaming up with randoms. And he teamed up with some random person who was talking shit to him for 2 hours straight. The guy told Donovan, I ain't seen you have a highlight in forever, bro. And Don made it a point to go out and shut this guy up. And he did everything except drop the guy's gamer tag last night, But he admitted he's in the playground. So if you ever see Donovan Mitchell in the playground, there's a very good chance you actually are playing with Donovan Mitchell.
All right.
And
now, I don't know anything about this.
Okay.
Is it really say like Donovan Mitchell?
So you have a gamer tag. So just like you have a username on Twitter.
Yeah.
So I'm not a gamer. Like I need Earl or Ant here to help me confirm. But like, yeah, you have a gamer tag. I believe NBA players do have like an NBA player verification badge. So like Tyrese Proctor plays, and Tyrese Proctor posts clips of him playing all the time.
That's that's so cool for like kids or people that are into that. I can't imagine 30 years ago, 40 years ago, for me being able to just hoop online with NBA players or pro athletes. That's wild, man. And I saw the clip and I was like, well, how do they know that it's him?
Yeah, well, the guy Donovan said the guy didn't believe him at first, and after 2 hours, he was like, I guess you actually are Donovan. Donovan's like, I got to go. I have a game, and I got to run. It was hysterical. I highly recommend watching Donovan's post-game press conference. He's awesome with the media. But, yeah, he literally said he was inspired because some kid or grown man, he's like, I'm not even sure how old this guy was talking shit to me for 2 hours before the game, and I wanted to shut him up. So, shout out Donovan. You did just that. Jason, I asked Donovan, though, and I'm curious what you think on this, because you and I have talked about this last year. We talked about this after the Atlanta game. He's playing a different brand of basketball at this stage of his career than he has in the past. Yes. His drives, last year we talked about being down. I did a whole breakdown before the Oklahoma City series, when the regular season series, about how his rim shot attempt frequency was down and his field goal percentage around the rim was down as well. This year it's down again, Jason. It's down even further than it was the last 2 years, and his frequency, even though his efficiency has gone slightly up. So I asked him, like, Don, and he moved much better last night. The hamstring, 2 days off, seemed to feel a lot better. I thought he was a little more explosive, was able to get by guys and create separation. But I said, Don, taking a lot of jump shots, you're shooting out of this world right now. Is this kind of the blueprint for you in the early season to have offensive success in your most efficient manner? And he was like, frankly, Mike, yeah, it is. Like, I understand that I'm not going to be able to dunk on people 3 times a game for 82 games. Like, my body just can't withstand that kind of punishment anymore. So that's why I'm getting my little crab dribble, little scoop dribble, whatever you want to call it, into the paint and shooting more floaters than I ever have in my life. Like, I'm purposely trying to save some wear and tear in my body. And my jump shot feels so good out of my hand right now that I could create separation side to side. I may not be able to create it vertically like I used to, but I can create it side to side. And I feel so confident in those shots, whether it be the mid-range or from beyond the arc. Now I'm going to keep taking them. And if they're going to go in like they did tonight, then yeah, I'm going to have some incredible results. And I appreciate the honesty from Donovan. He easily could have said, no, I just felt like shooting tonight. The fact that he even mentioned that I'm being a little cautious with my body, I think is the kind of transparency you want from a superstar. And 2, yeah, when you're making jump shots at the rate he is, keep shooting. Is it sustainable? I don't know. But I kind of agree with Donovan that, at least for right now, this is by far the most efficient, effective way for Don to preserve his body for when it really matters while still playing at an MVP level.
So it's funny that he kind of mentioned that after the Atlanta game too. He talked about he's not really dunking right now to save his body, to save wear and tear on his body. That it's more the floater game than it is dunks. But as you were talking, as he was sort of acknowledging the changes within his game and his body, and he can't do what he used to, I was sitting here thinking, did I tell you about the afternoon after practice in Detroit when I sat with Dwayne Wade for about 25 minutes?
You've told me bits and pieces, but I can guarantee you the audience has not heard that part of the story.
It was one of the best conversations. It was without question the best conversation I ever had with Dwayne, because he wasn't here that long. But it was a Sunday practice, and the Cavs were in Detroit, and they were at I forget the name of it. It doesn't matter. They were at a high school in Detroit. So I drive up, and Dwayne's knees are wrapped in ice, and the ice bags are melting. And he didn't even practice that day. Like, he didn't even practice. And he's still icing his knees. And he's at the end of his career. And I just remember watching the bags drip like an IV bag. I remember the water dripping off the bag. And he said, when I first got in the league, I could just explode and dunk standing still, straight up dunk. He said, then I needed 1 dribble to get up. And I needed 2 dribbles to get up. And just the way that he acknowledged and embraced, and remember, Dwayne had the surgeries too, that messed him up in college and really sort of cut short his career, I think. But the way that he sort of acknowledged, I can't do the things I used to do, even prior to that conversation I had with him 2 or 3 years prior to that, and being able to adapt his game. I remember LeBron saying, like, how hard it is for guys of Dwayne's stature who have accomplished what Dwayne accomplished to be able to be real with themselves and to be honest with themselves that, yeah, I need 3 dribbles now to get up. And I feel like Donovan is starting to go. Donovan's not old by any means, but for him to have the self-awareness to be able to acknowledge, I can't do what I used to. I might need more dribbles to get that explosion. And of course, one of the players he idolized was Dwayne. It's just sort of, it's fascinating to me, the correlation there. And it's even more reason why you and I have kept saying, like, Evan's got to be the guy. Evan's got to be the guy. Donovan can still get you the buckets. I mean, listen, he had 46 last night. He's still an incredible
last night.
Yeah. And he's going to have games like that. But I don't know that Donovan is going to strap a franchise to his back and do it 7 nights in a row in a series and then do it 7 nights again and then do it 7 nights again. We just have to be honest and realistic with where things are and where he is. And when you got to have it, he'll give it to you. But I don't know that it's wise to count on him to give it to you 82 times in the regular season and then 16 more times in the playoffs. So it's one of the fascinating things to watch this year with him. I know there's, like, I just think interest in general is down with the Cavs right now.
For sure.
Because of how last season ended, because we've gotten to the point of it's playoffs or nothing else matters. We've noticed it at The Athletic for sure with some of the numbers on, like, interest is really, really down. But one of the things to watch for me this year is Donovan's evolution as a player, if you will. And the way that they talked about what incredible shape he was in early on, and they had to pull him back a little bit, whatever. But just seeing how he can guide this team when he takes his shots and when he sort of pulls back and tries to, whether it's Evan or Darius or whoever, make someone else sort of be that guy that emerges. But it's happening. There's no slowing it down. He is changing. His game is changing. His body is changing. And it's good for him. I remember Ty Lue saying the hardest thing to do is to coach an aging superstar. And again, I don't want to make it sound like Donovan is over the hill and past his prime and at the end of his career. But just having the self-awareness to being able to recognize I'm not the same player I was 5 or 6 years ago is only a good thing, and it's only beneficial to him and the team.
Could not agree more. I also just want to acknowledge what he did last night because it was an offensive masterclass to the highest degree. I'm serious. It was, I believe, he had 8 assists to 1 turnover. He had 46 points. He shot 15 to 21 from the floor. 15 to 21, by the way. This is a 6'2" guard who just admitted he's not dunking the ball. He actually tried to windmill it after the whistle. And in the post-game press conference, he said that was stupid. I don't know why I did that. And he blamed the 2K game. Honest to God, he blamed the 2K game. It was incredible. Jason, everywhere he wanted to get to, he was able to create separation. Every shot that left his hand looked good. Even the ones he missed. And once again, I played D3 basketball. I am not trying to say I'm Donovan Mitchell at all. You can tell when you miss and it's just slightly long and it's a good shot versus one like you're missing and it's off. Every one of his misses last night just hit the back iron. Like just half an inch too far. None of them were off to the side. I don't remember any bad misses. I know one was an end of shot clock shot that he just kind of put up, but like that happens to every superstar in the league. It was as good of a game as I've ever seen Donovan Mitchell play, and I was not in the arena for the 70-point game. So that is by far his creme de la creme, his shining moment in Cleveland.
I was. That was unbelievable.
So I can't say I saw that in person. Outside of that, Jason, I would argue that was his best game in a Cavaliers uniform. And wow. Kenny pointed out that not only is he doing this on the offensive end, but if you look at the defensive metrics, Donovan's taken a giant step up in all the tracking metrics that the Cavs care about. Not the stuff that we care about. And I think I want to make this distinction because there's a gigantic gap between what we watch on TV and say good or bad defense versus what the Cavs are actually tracking and what they consider a good or bad defensive possession. We don't know what they're trying to force. We don't know what they're trying to angle and isolate on a single defensive possession. And sometimes the guy may get blown by or may get beaten off the dribble, gives up a pull-up jump shot, whatever. But if that's the shot they're trying to get the defense to take, or the offense to take, then that marks down as a win for said player. And Kenny said last night, not only is Donovan playing at an MVP level offensively, but he's taken gigantic leaps defensively in the metrics that we track. And I haven't necessarily noticed that from the eye test. It's too early. I'm just not paying attention specifically to individual defensive efforts outside of Jaylen Tyson, who's full court. But he's the best guard in the East right now, Jason, and arguably the second best player behind Giannis. Like, he's not Giannis. I'm not sure there's anyone in the East you're taking over Don at number 2. And he did that against Tyrese Maxey last night, who was in that conversation. And after last night, Maxey's incredible. Don't get me wrong. It's Don. It's nobody in my mind.
I can't dispute it right now. Long way to go, and we'll see how he holds up the rest of the way. But yeah, I think Kenny said that, like, who in the East is better than Don right now, and it's fair. He's playing great.
All right, we got one more break. Jason, I'm going to do another FanDuel read, even though we're not supposed to, because no one else has sponsored the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show. And that's why you can come in and be a sponsor of the Ultimate Cavaliers Show, the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show. FanDuel is America's #1 sportsbook, guys. You know that. We all know that. If you have a winning FanDuel ticket, please send it in. We are going to start featuring them on the show once again. Anthony's making a new graphic so we can plug and place your winning tickets. We want to feature your best wins because FanDuel, and I got off a call with FanDuel yesterday, Jason. They love when we feature your tickets. It's one of their favorite sponsorship deals they have. They just re-upped with us for 2026 because of the fact that you guys are so interactive with it. So continue sending us those FanDuel tickets. We love to see them. We love that your guys are using FanDuel and love FanDuel as much as we do. All right, Jason, one last topic we got to cover here, and that is the ascension of Jaylen Tyson. His 4th straight game last night, scoring double-digit points.
Who's your new favorite player? Is it still Merrill, or has Jaylen surpassed him now?
Listen, I like them both. The fact that the audio worked for Jaylen Tyson and the audio crapped out for Sam Merrill, and I know it has nothing to do with them and it's neither of their faults.
Yeah.
I like them both. I did get a good chuckle out of Sam last night. He didn't realize he dropped Justin Edwards on that screen. I know I texted you and said that was my favorite moment. Mm-hmm. And Sam was like, I dropped him? I'm like, Sam, bro, the creatine's paying off, my man. And he was like, just shut up, Mike. And kind of like laughed and walked away. But he had no idea he dropped him. And afterwards, Sharon pulled up the clip and showed him. And Sam, I saw the smirk in your face. Don't you think that listen, as a undersized white guard who played, if I dropped someone on a screen, you damn sure it would have been on loop on my highlight tape. Like, you damn sure it would have been. I made 2 guys fall on camera. And if I could ever find my high school mixtape, Jason, those are the first 2 plays, and by far. But I don't know. Sam's still awesome. He's playing out of this world. He's shooting like 60% from 3 too, Jason. He's been absolutely incredible this season. But Jaylen Tyson has scored double-digit points now 4 games in a row. He had 18, 19, 18, and 10. He stayed in the starting lineup over Sam Merrill. Kenny said the decision came down, frankly, to we needed someone to pick up Tyrese Maxey full court, and Jaylen's been our best on-ball pressure defender.
He should stay in the lineup over. They're too small with Sam in the starting lineup with Darius and Don.
I agree. And when DeAndre's back, we'll see what happens. DeAndre obviously did not play last night due to an illness. Nothing serious. He should be back. But I was talking to my buddy, Real Cavs fans, Jason, and he said something that sparked a thought in my head. I'm curious what you think. When you look at all the Cavs 3-and-D wings over the last couple of years, Danny Green, Okoro, everyone else they've thrown into that position, Tyson now. Tyson seems to be the one guy that actually has a ceiling that can be a bit of a, not necessarily a season changer, but on a night-to-night, a game changer for the Cavs. And the more confident he gets in his jump shot, the more confident he gets in playing off certain guys. He's still relatively early in his career playing off the good players on the Cavs. Like last year, he played 47 games, but the majority of those games, he was coming in the last 3 minutes when Kenny cleared the bench, right? Like he was playing, no disrespect, but with Imani Bates and Luke Travers and Tomlin, like a little different caliber than playing with Don, Darius, Evan, and Jarrett. And, it's early. Kenny said after Sunday, if he keeps playing like this, he'll be a $20 million a year role player at some point. The Cavs obviously need contributions from guys on rookie contracts, considering the rest of their cap sheet. But it's 8 games. The early returns on Jaylen Tyson cannot be higher right now.
Yeah, he's playing great. And, I know they were excited last year to be able to acquire Hunter, make a big move without giving up Jaylen for exactly this reason, because they felt like he could be a key piece for them in years ahead. He's got I mean, when you talk about the 3-and-D guys they've had here before, Danny Green was just to throw it at the wall and see what he's got left. He was literally playing on one leg when he was here. And it was at the very, very end of his career. Okoro never worked quite the way that they wanted, even though some of his shooting numbers improved and looked better. Teams never respected him. We've talked about that on the show at length. Teams were never scared of him. Jaylen's a guy I think that they're going to have to cover. If you're in a playoff series, you got to know where he's at on the court. And if you're gonna shade off somebody, he's probably going to punish you. Because I think he is going to have the confidence to step into big shots and big moments. He doesn't seem like a kid who's going to be rattled by the moment. You said the other day that he's got to get better defensively, and I would agree with that. I think he can. I think it's easier for him to improve defensively easier than it was for Isaac to try and improve his offensive shot.
Yeah.
The part that they really need in the floor spacing, Jaylen already can provide them. The defensive stuff will come. And if he buys into it, which I think he will, he'll get there. So for all of the years of trying to crowbar Isaac into being that guy, Jaylen almost overnight seems to have taken that exact role of what they really, really needed these last couple of years and seems to be filling it admirably. You know, when they're all healthy and rolling, I still like DeAndre at the 3. We know who the other 4 starters are. And then that leaves you a second unit with Sam.
Lonzo, Sam, Tyson, Larry Nance, and Dean Wade. Like,
that's pretty good.
Pretty damn good. Yeah.
You forgot Max. Sam, Max, Lonzo. Sam, Max, Lonzo, Jaylen, and Larry.
Nance or Dean. Like, that's a deep team.
It is. And there's going to be injuries. I thought Larry had some really big rebounds last night. Just to squeeze that in, I know we're not going to spend a lot of time talking about Larry Nance, but huge. I love Tristan. Tristan is one of my favorite people I've ever covered in the NBA. But I mean, come on, Larry is an upgrade over Tristan, and what they can do at this stage is not close. And Larry can really be that sort of steadying hand, that veteran who can come in, just grab rebounds, dude. That's all we need. That's all they need you to do. Grab rebounds, hit a couple shots, and he's going to have a place on this team.
Did we lose Jason? We lost Jason for a second.
You got me? Am I back?
You're back. Yeah, I got you now. Yep,
Did I freeze? That's weird. I don't know what happened.
Yeah, but it's all good. We got your Larry Nance Jr. point. With Tyson, second-year player, played 3 years in college, but really had 1 year where he was the guy. Like, he was a role player his first 2 years in college, transferred 3 times. But at Cal, it was an all ACC or Pac-12. I don't even know what conference they were in when he was there. Like, they changed so many times. I think it was all ACC, which makes no sense, but whatever. Maybe it's Pac-12. Whatever it was.
It doesn't matter.
Whatever it was, he was the leading scorer in the conference. Comes in as being asked to play a completely different role than what he did at Cal. A role he is a little bit more familiar with than I even thought, because at Texas Tech, that's the role he played for the Red Raiders. So he has a little familiarity with it. But, you know, it's just the kind of thing that he makes, just like Darius, but it's the similar thought, very different ways. Just like Darius, when he's back, has everyone else kind of fit into their natural role. Jaylen being on the court allows everyone else defensively to fall back to their most natural spot, because Jaylen can be the guy that's picking up 94 feet and harassing the other team's best opponent. And when I sat down with Jaylen this week, I asked him, I read an interview where you said you didn't like playing defense, but now you're starting to enjoy it. Like, what part of it do you enjoy? And he smiled and goes, I like to piss off their best player. And you know what? Like, I can attest to that. Not that I was ever a good defensive player, but when someone just makes it their night mission, even if you're playing pickup, to be like, you're not scoring, and I'm going to do whatever I can to make your life a living hell. It's like, come on, bro. Like, you see, like, don't you got other shit to go do? Like, leave me alone. And Jaylen last night was hounding Maxey, and Maxey still had a great game, don't get me wrong, but under his season average in field goal attempts, 3-point attempts, points. Edgecombe had his worst game of his rookie season. Tyson spent some good time on Edgecombe as well. So it's a work in progress. He still fouls too much. The nickname Hacky Chan was bestowed upon him by DeAndre Hunter, and Jaylen's fully embraced that. Also in the interview, if you want to check it out, it's on our YouTube page. But he's been a bright spot earlier in the season, Jason, where we've been looking for kind of little things to pay attention to, because in totality, the regular season I don't want to say it doesn't matter, but we're all gearing up to what's going to happen in April, May, and June. He's been one of those things that I think you could point at early and say, yeah, this actually does matter now. Like what Jaylen does in the first few months is going to determine whether or not he has a chance to compete for a rotation spot when the playoffs roll around.
Absolutely. And I fully expect him to be part of that postseason rotation. Kenny said again the other night, he's playing 10. He's committed to playing 10. He likes playing 10. He's not going to play 10 in the postseason. I don't think. Maybe in the early rounds, in the first round. But as they get deeper and deeper, I just don't think it's realistic to play 10, but we'll see. But we'll have to see what the injury situation is. But Jaylen absolutely, I think, is a big part of this team this year.
Last thing, we'll wrap up here, Jason. On playing 10, maybe even 11, and in the playoffs, I'm kind of changing my mindset on whether you can or can't. With the second apron, all the restrictions, and all the main key guys getting as big a contracts that they have, not just in Cleveland, around the league. Depth and playing guys in shorter spurts, but saying, hey, you got a 3-minute stretch here, Jaylen. You got to go 150%, press the absolute living hell out of them. I look at Portland, for example, like they're playing 12 guys. 3 of those guys are only playing like 8 to 9 minutes a game, 2 spurts, 1 in the first half, 1 in the second half. But those 3 minutes they come in, they call it the hell minutes, where it's chaos. It's high school full court press. Like they're trapping, they're just running around like absolute maniacs. And I think to counterbalance the uneven cap sheets of teams where you have 3 or 4 players making a lot of money and a lot of guys on rookie contracts or like minimum vet contracts, mid-level exception, those kind of level deals. The way you maximize their value is play them, press them, make them play like their hair's on fire, and see if you can force a little chaos on the other end. So I was with you last year. I didn't think there was any chance they'd play 10. And maybe in the playoffs, we'll find out. We didn't get a chance to see it because of injuries last year with the Pacers series.
Yeah.
But I kind of think depth and being able to play more than 10 guys, even if it's just for short spurts, is going to be something we see more and more teams do just because they're trying to maximize the total value of their roster.
I just saw – who was it? I just saw an NBA coach talking about this the other day, about playing shorter stints, playing harder and shorter stints.
Oh, it was Memphis's coach.
Yes.
And they also are playing 12 guys, by the way. Memphis is playing 12 guys.
And he was saying, like, and players were like they want longer burns on the court so they can get in a rhythm. And he's pushing back against that and saying, we want you playing harder and shorter stints, and then we're going to get you off and get you a blow and then get you back on. Hey, listen, the game's always evolving. You never know. We've seen it. We've seen all of these sports. We've seen football evolve with the way that they think and going for it on fourth down. We've seen baseball evolve with the home run being the end-all, be-all. Maybe it'll go the other way in basketball, and maybe it is playing 10 guys in an NBA Finals game. I'll believe it when I see it, because when the pressure's on, you want your best guys on the floor as much as possible. But we'll see.
All right, Jason, that's going to wrap it up for this edition of the Ultimate Cavs Show. Cavs and coffee after a Cleveland win over the Sixers. Darius Garland's return makes everything look better. And it's a lot more fun to talk about this team when their offense looks quasi-familiar to what it did last year when it set the NBA record for offensive rating. For Jason Lloyd, I'm Mikey McNuggets. We will see you in 2 hours and 19 minutes on UCSS. Hit that subscribe button. We're just shy of 75,000. I want to get there by the end of the week. Do it for me. Do it for Jason. And do it for Jaylen Tyson. Peace.